Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Instant Payments Podcast. I'm your host, Tal Clark. I'm the CEO of Instant Financial, a fintech company that's modernizing payments and payroll for hourly workers and their employers. I've worked in the payments industry for 30 years, and I'm glad you're tuning in today. If you like what you hear, please do us a favor and subscribe, leave a review, or suggest a future guest. This podcast features payments and payroll leaders to discuss some of their challenges and what technologies they've used to improve their workplace and the lives of their workforce. Today's guest is legendary wingman Spencer Baumhower, president of Aloha Hospitality, a family-owned and operated full-service group of restaurants in Alabama. Spencer started with Aloha in 2008 as a busser and worked his way through nearly every role in the restaurant, from server and bartender to general manager, field training operations, COO, and now president. Founded in 1981 by his father, Alabama football legend and All-Pro Miami Dolphin Bob Baumhower, Aloha Hospitality has grown to 15 full-serve casual restaurants across 5 concepts and employing 1,000 people. Aloha's mission is
Yep.
to create great feelings and value for both guests and team members. Spencer is a passionate advocate for that mission with a particular focus on helping people succeed. He's also a former collegiate athlete and lifelong sports and food enthusiast. Welcome, Spencer. Where are you joining us from today?
Hey, good to see you, Tal. I'm actually in the great city of Montgomery, Alabama today.
Oh,
So, just wrapping up actually our past couple of days. We've had our general manager conferences. So brought everyone together statewide and been meeting in Montgomery.
oh,
So
that's cool. So you're up a little bit north. So you and I both have the blessing of being able to live on the Gulf Coast. So
the Gulf Coast,
yeah,
yeah, yes,
it's
sir.
good stuff. So when are you back in Fairhope?
I'll be back tomorrow actually. We just opened a new store, so we've got 16 now at a town called Millbrook, Alabama, which is just north of Montgomery.
Okay.
I'll be there today for a little bit, popping in, but kind of Prattville, Millbrook area, so we're really excited about that.
Okay.
So it's been going very
That
well.
sounds good. Just as a little bit of an
Yeah.
aside, we started a lunch with our clients that we do with all of our employees in Pensacola. So there's about 10 employees over here, and we've gone to different of our clients, and we started that about 3 months ago, and we're headed your way Friday. So,
I saw that.
yeah, you're
So hopefully I'll be back in time. Meet you at Foley.
super. That will be great. So we'll look forward to it. Well, look, as we dive in here a little bit, tell me what does legendary wingman mean to you?
Well, first of all, I had to one up my dad, right? So, for never and ever, on his card, his title was head fry cook, right? And, obviously, my dad's my hero. He's been my best friend for forever, taught me everything I know. Very blessed to have,
Yeah.
really great parents that poured into me. So, I had to one up them though. So, came up with the wing station was my favorite station kind of as I was coming up. And so, someone, was like, your title should be legendary wingman. That sounds pretty good. I was like, you know what? Does sound good. So I like the wingman part, you
Well,
know.
that's great. Well, for people that don't know a ton about Aloha Hospitality, just give us a little bit more background on, well, really, I'd love to talk a little bit about your dad's story and founding the business a little
Yeah,
bit. So let's
hundred
sort of
hundred
start
percent.
there and kind of walk us up to today.
Yeah. So, to kind of make a long story short, my dad, played football for the University of Alabama for Coach Paul Bear Bryant. Um, Didn't start playing until his junior year, so he was, a little under recruited. Actually, almost signed with Vanderbilt,
Okay.
and Coach Bryant was after signing day, and Coach Bryant was watching film on a lot of their signees and saw this defensive lineman whooping one of their top offensive lineman signees, and it's like, well, where is this guy? And so he ended up signing with Alabama. Got drafted by Miami. Played for Don Shula, so. And I was in Miami for 10 years, and, rookie year was 77, 78. So, anyways, he had a teammate, said, "Hey, Bob, let's go to lunch." And there was a place down there called Wings and Things, and a guy named Eddie Hauk that was running it, who was from Buffalo, New York, and he kind of brought buffalo wings to South Florida.
Okay.
And, back in those days, buffalo wings didn't really exist.
Yeah.
It wasn't really a thing yet. So dad had no idea what he was getting into, and, the way he tells it is, They get there and a line was out the door, and first time he ever had a buffalo wing, right? And obviously back then, you could buy 40 pounds of wings and you'd get 40 pounds free. It was kind of the scrap of the bird, and
Crazy.
which is the total opposite of what's going on, the past 15,
Yeah.
20 years. Um, but anyway, just fell in love with the product and, saw all kinds of people there, blue collar, white collar, all different types of ethnicities and just had a crazy idea. So this would probably do really well on campus in Tuscaloosa back home in Alabama. And so we befriended Eddie, and he was a huge Dolphins fan, and so he kind of taught him the wing thing, and we ended up opening up our first restaurant on the strip while he was still playing for
Oh, wow.
Miami in Tuscaloosa, 1981, in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So we were the first company to actually introduce buffalo wings to Alabama way back when. So still slinging them 45 years later,
That's
so.
crazy. And,
But
I think that may have been the first one I went in of your guys' restaurants before I knew you guys. My son was a
yeah.
swimmer, he used to swim all over the country, and we were in Tuscaloosa and ate there a bunch of times when we were in Tuscaloosa
Oh,
because
yeah.
the kids loved it, man. It was great. So,
Mhm.
well, so and
Yes, sir.
you have other brands too that you operate under now. So yeah,
Correct,
go
yeah.
into that a little bit.
So we're multi-concept, obviously, Baumhower's is kind of the bell cow, but we have a fine dining concept called Dolphins, actually just got, voted best fine dining restaurant in Mobile, Baldwin County in South Alabama. It's a top, Trustmark building in downtown Mobile. So Dolphins is a great, really cool concept. A lot of fresh fish and, feature a lot of things coming out of our Gulf down here. And you have Las Floriditas, it's a Cuban speakeasy. Really cool place. We actually got to go to Cuba, and I can get into that story
Okay.
later. Um, and then we have a new concept, kind of the new kid on the block for us is called Wingfingers. So it's a fast casual drive-through concept, but we're 100% fresh. Make all our dipping sauces, hand bread all our chicken, do hand cut all of our produce for our salads. So and we've got the best breakfast in the world. So we've got Conecuh sausage is really
Oh,
big
yeah.
here in
Yeah,
Alabama.
absolutely.
It's kind of has a cult
Yeah.
following. So we do some really good Conecuh, egg and cheese biscuits. We're hand cracking all our eggs. Jimmy Dean sage sausage, so really good
Well,
stuff.
that's great. So, where is the Cuban concept? I'm not familiar with that. Where are the locations? Is it close by here or up in Tulsa?
Yes, downtown Mobile. Sorry about that.
No, that's
Um,
fine.
Downtown Mobile, and it's in the same building that Dolphins is in, and kind of make another. Put a long story short, there's a place called El Floridita in Havana, Cuba, and that's Hemingway kind of made it famous.
Oh,
That was
wow.
his hangout spot, and my dad's a huge when he was playing for Miami, he's a huge, boating, fishing Hemingway guy, and so um, El Floridita is the birthplace of the daiquiri, right? So, it's been there for, I don't know, 100, years, something like that. And so we got to go down there. They taught us how to make their daiquiri. And, you know, that's what we're doing at Las Floriditas.
Well, that's great. And a great story, man. Great story. And I'd love to maybe we'll get your dad on here again one day or get both of you guys and do this again one day and just
Yeah.
talk through it more. But super cool background and story. So tell me a little bit about, we talked a little bit of, so that's the background, the history, and kind of what you guys do from a brand
Yes,
perspective.
sir.
Um, Tell me a little bit more about your journey through the organization. I did it at a
Yeah.
high level, but
Yeah.
you're now leading a thousand employees, and I think it's obvious your dad has entrusted you with a ton of responsibility and making sure this business continues growing. So, talk a little bit about your journey and where you are today and getting things going there.
Yeah, yes, sir. So, like you were saying, I kind of got started pretty young, obviously,
Yeah.
helping wherever dad wanted me. So, bussing tables and got into serving and as I got into college, graduated from the University of Alabama, and so still tried to keep learning the business, right?
Yep.
And, so that's kinda how I got started, ended up graduating, and wasn't quite like most college kids, wasn't 100% sure what I was wanting to do.
Mhm.
I thought my dream job for a while would be kind of be front office or some type of operations on a football team or sports team growing up around
Yep.
sports, right? And but I always love the hospitality business and mainly the people aspect. And like I was alluding to earlier, my dad's always been my hero, and he's always, there's a lot of sports folk that will get in a partnership and they'll put their name on a building and it'll be some type of sports bar and grill, right? And it's
Right.
mainly just a name to kind of help with the branding. But my dad's an operator, and I mean he's one of the in my opinion, the best to ever do it, operations wise, and has taught me everything I know. And he was the one, I remember as a kid, he's driving to different restaurants, meeting with the general managers, meeting with the server, temp and grease on the wing station, making sure it's
Yeah.
where it needs to be. So, um, I always wanted to, help him as well because growing up watching him work so hard, obviously, restaurant business, toughest business in the world as far as I'm concerned. So, uh, so when I graduated, he actually tried to keep me out of it. He tried to
Yeah.
push me in other directions just because he knows, what kind of comes with the territory. Um, I ended up getting into it and became an assistant manager of one of our concepts, and quickly fell in love with it. And what I really fell in love with was the people aspect. And the restaurant business, there's a lot of similarities. Hospitality business, there's a lot of similarities to being on a sports team or to being a part of a team, an athletic team from
Right.
my background. So it's all about people and finding ways to recruit top talent, and then you know, do whatever you can do to help develop them both as people and as um, professionals, for the team to be successful, right? And so I
Yeah.
quickly learned that that was the only way to be successful in this really any business, but especially the hospitality business. And so that's kind of how I got into it. And just, from there, as I became an assistant manager, I was running one of our, I was the cafe bar manager. Just quickly started moving up, trying to help and learn what I could learn to quickly impact what I could impact in a positive fashion. So, it's-
That's good.
yes, sir.
That's outstanding. It's a great story, man. I love the story of you guys' business. And one thing as I introduced you there, I don't think I realized you played collegiate sports as well. Did you play football at Alabama as well?
Yeah, yes, sir. Played for Coach
Okay.
Saban for a couple of years. So, really great. It was a
Okay.
really great experience. Learned a lot. So,
Okay. What years were those?
2013, 2015.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's crazy.
Yeah, I was.
Was there a national championship in those years somewhere?
No, actually, I just missed it. I
Okay.
graduated, actually December of 14, and they ended up winning the national championship in 2015. So, just missed it there, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, that's good to know as well. So,
Yeah.
well, you mentioned employees, and you guys, and you guys in the restaurant space. Everyone knows there's a lot of turnover there, right? And it's
Hmm.
difficult hiring and managing and training and the whole thing, right? So,
Yes, sir.
what do you draw on from maybe even your athletic experience or just now your leadership experience that you developed? How do you, when you're bringing a new employee in, what are some of the things you're looking for and sharing with them, just trying to help them along the journey as well?
Yeah, no. So I was telling the story the other day is because like I said, I've been very blessed to have a lot of really good leaders in my life, right? That I can draw from. Obviously, my parents,
Yeah.
different coaches and whatnot, and and what I've learned pretty early on, and there's a saying, success leaves footsteps, right? And whether it was the stuff my dad grew up coaching me on, or different coaches, hearing from Coach Saban or Coach at UAB, Coach Callaway, um, you know, when it comes down to it, from what I was able to, learn essentially is that you gotta find folks, that genuinely care, right? And especially our
Yeah.
business, you gotta have born to serve folks, right? And then,
Mhm.
your leadership teams, which is like I was telling you, past 2 days we've been talking about leadership and how do we, um, how are we able to take the next step, right? As an organization, as a people group, to try to get, continue to grow. And the only way we can grow is through recruiting great folks that care and
Yeah.
then being able to develop them. So, um, there's all types of different, leadership techniques or whatnot, but
Yeah.
what really comes down to it that we're really big on is servant leadership. And so, it's a huge concept with us and, genuinely caring for your people. My dad's always said, you got to see your folks. And they got to know you care about them and know that you're vested and know that you're real. You can't just
Yep.
punch the clock. And so, there's a lot of different concepts or things, but that's really the type of leadership that we push with all our folks that, we want folks in our restaurants and leadership positions um, to know that leadership is influence, that there's, a lot of our restaurants, we got 100, 120 folks, a lot of young folks working in there and the leadership team has the ability to impact their lives in a positive fashion.
No doubt.
And when you're able to make a connection with your people and they genuinely know you care and that you're there for them, it's a pretty motivating thing, so
Yeah.
most folks can get behind that and they tend to hang around and want to be a part of something special, and creating what we would call a legendary guest experience, right? Um, I kind of said a lot there, but in a nutshell,
No.
that's a big part of what we push day in and day out, and it's getting our folks to walk that talk, right? That was
Yeah.
actually the theme for our meeting was walk the talk. So
Okay, that's great. And I would anticipate that you guys are doing a better job of hiring and retention than some of the larger national brands that
yep,
are in your space because of the things you just said, right? You guys legitimately care for the people and train the people, and they know you, and you're not going anywhere, right? So I feel like you probably do have a better record of hiring and retention than
Y-
probably some of the
yeah.
national
So
brands.
Yeah, so and actually, turnover is something that we every general manager conference we go through every store's turnover and we talk about, what we got going on here and the whys and and what we're seeing. But I mean, our average turnover that we just got done reviewing, it's probably 50 to 65% in the majority of our stores, which for the hospitality business is actually really good.
Yeah,
Um,
no doubt.
I think when you read different articles, I don't know what it is now, but usually industry average is like 120, 125-ish,
Yeah,
maybe
no
a little
doubt.
north of that.
Yeah. Yeah, in the
So
QSR space, I know we talked to QSR that has 300% turnover even in table service is 100 plus, right? So you guys are definitely better than average, I think.
we're really blessed with that. We've got a lot of really good leaders that work hard to run the plays and do them the right way. I don't know what a lot of, national chains are running right now, but, I know what we're running and, we've got some good folks that, like I said, genuinely care and working hard to, be true leaders, right? Not just managers, folks that really care about their folks and that are vested in their communities and that want to have a positive impact beyond just frying chicken.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
I don't really know how to compare us to from different national chains, but I would say we stack up pretty well because of
Yeah.
the people piece.
Yeah, I can validate that you do based on what you're saying. I think you guys have got probably a significant advantage there for sure. So, Spencer, this is a good place to pause. We'll pick this up
Yeah.
in part two, where we'll dive deeper into the operations that have made Aloha a success. For our audience, you can find Spencer on LinkedIn. We'll link to his profile in the show notes. You can also check out alohahospitality.com to learn more about his company. You can follow along with new episodes at instant.co/podcast or wherever you get your podcasts. Please share the episode and leave a review. Thanks for tuning in to the Instant Payments Podcast.